Welcome back to another video. So I received the following comment regarding models that are downloaded from GrabCAD, and within Abacus there will be some errors regarding bad meshes or bad edges. So we see over here that those models are usually created in SolidWorks. So if there are any methods to improve that geometry within either SolidWorks or CATIA. Now let's take a look at this. Initially I've searched for some 3D scan over here, because usually models that are created directly within SolidWorks, those shouldn't have any problems, because those will just convert afterwards easily. So everything that is being modeled over here will be converted within a mesh that can be used for those analyses. And usually there are no problems for the geometry, because this geometry will be mostly with NURBS, so this will not be a polygonal face or made from triangles. That is, let's say, opposite to Blender, when over here we mostly need to do some remeshing. So over here within Blender I can press R, I can do a remesh on the model, afterwards I can hit remesh, and afterwards we're gonna see how that geometry of the model will be defined by, in this case, by quads. But usually 3D scans are defined by triangles. So over here I downloaded, for example, this one, because usually 3D scans have various elements within their geometry that need to be changed. So for example, this STL file over here, if I will drag and Geomagic, and we're gonna see that by default Geomagic will see that this mesh could use a little bit of analyzing and repair, and Geomagic uses Mesh Doctor for that. So this will search for various elements such as self-intersections. The most important will be non-manifold edges, so in this case the model doesn't have any. High crease edges, spikes, or some small components or other elements over here. If I will import the same model over here within CATIA, I will do that within Geomagic Design. And over here I will go within Downloads and I will select the same file. So we see over here, if I will go with Mesh Cleaner, if I will analyze this, CATIA will say that there are no problems with this. So we see over here for the non-manifold vertices, this is set to 0. But regarding the other elements that Geomagic has identified, within CATIA there won't be any problems with those. If I will jump within Solid and I will create over here a new part, I will drag and drop that STL file and we're gonna see how that will import over here. Within Solid there is a possibility to do some mesh analyze over here. So within mesh modeling we can convert this, but as I can see over here there are no special features that will analyze the mesh and fix it. So we can either extract a surface from a mesh or we can try to convert the mesh to a solid body. So in this case I can select the mesh, I will click OK, and even though I set it over here to be convert to mesh body, we're gonna see that the final output will be made from multiple surfaces over here, because that 3D scan didn't had wasn't a solid body. But not sure exactly if within Solid you can start clearing this. Usually this requires either CATIA or other solutions such as Geomagic over here. This is actually the same problem, just like within this video I show why some meshes won't import within CATIA Imaginary Shape. And the main problem with this is regarding the geometry. For example, within Blender, if I will go back over here within the layout, and I will create a UV sphere. The geometry will look like this. And if I will create an icosphere, this will actually import within CATIA. Since the geometry, if I will press tab over here, we're gonna see will be defined by triangles, but there are no problems associated with the edges. While for the other model, if I will press tab, the main problem that CATIA doesn't like and will not import is the fact that over here we have one vertices that will be connected over here onto the others. And this is something that cannot be imported and processed within CATIA. So if I will just delete this, this will also import. And the same problem applies for finite element analysis, because the mesh, even though they are NURBS models that are not defined by triangles or polygons, mostly by splines and surfaces, in order to do that analysis, the model will need to be remeshed within either SolidWorks, CATIA, or Abacus. So, yeah, as we can see over here, so we have various parts that can be designed within part design, but when we're going to do the finite element analysis, the software will actually split that that mesh. In CATIA it's called Octane, but it's the same principle as over here within Blender. We're going to have the mesh recreated into multiple smaller surfaces, and depending on the size of that, the analysis can be more or less precise. So I would suggest to use CATIA Mesh Cleaner for this, or there are some other tools that can be used for remeshing, such as Blender, since this is free. And we have the possibility to import a model. For example, over here I also loaded a lot of problems that are visible within the mesh. So this is that. So we see this is a rough 3D scan. And over here, if I will import this within CATIA, we're going to see that there are some elements that are problematic. So let me just hide the previous one, because these haven't been at scale. And we see this is the mesh. And over here within CATIA, if I will analyze this, we're going to see some non-manifold vertices. So mostly these are the ones that are problematic. We have over here 1 point and a few more points over here. So we can just clear those. We see that CATIA removed that triangle. And afterwards, this should still be converted to a solid body in order to apply analysis on it. And it will be the same over there in other software solutions. So if I will import the same one over here, so this Easy Rider, if I will zoom on it, and I will also rotate it on the x-axis 90 degrees, we have the possibility to do a remesh over here, because the mesh has a lot of problems, as we can see over here. So we can do that over here. If I will type in remesh, we can either do a block remesh, a smooth, a sharp, and a voxel. So depending on the properties over here that will be set, we can define this. For example, if I will go with a voxel of 0.01 for this one, let's see the remesh. The output will be like this. If I will go with 0.1, if I will just go with 1, this will be the voxel size. So in this case, we see that the remesh will be a little bit more challenging on a model like this. But within Blender, we can just go within sculpting. I can select that model. I can press R in order to define the mesh. So something like 0.08 in this case. I can go to remesh. I can hit remesh, and we're gonna have that remeshed. But again, we're gonna see how many problems this resulting mesh will have, since this has been a 3D scanned component. But if you're gonna have something that you are gonna model within Solid, you can save that as a step file or as an IGS file, and that should transfer without any problems, because usually there are problems associated with self-intersection, high creases, and also non-manifold edges. This is something that also can be easily cleaned within CATIA. Okay, so I hope you find this content useful. I will position a similar video over here on the left side, and I will also add a subscribe button to the right. So that's it. Thanks for watching.